अस्सलामुअलैकुम। उम्मीद है आप सब खैर खैरियत से होंगे। मैं ये भी उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आप सबका तैयारी है वो बेहतरीन चल रहा होगा। जी दोस्तों, जैसे कि आप सबको मालूम है कि सरदार बहादुर ख़ान वुमेन यूनिवर्सिटी ने टेस्ट की तारीख़ का ऐलान किया हुआ है और बहुत से उम्मीदवार हैं, इनको पेडागोजी की तैयारी में बहुत से मसाइल पेश आ रहे हैं। तो आज का वीडियो स्पेशली उन उम्मीदवारों के लिए है, उन कैंडिडेट्स के लिए है जिनको पेडागोजी बहुत मुश्किल लग रहा है और जिनको बहुत मुश्किल समझ आता है एक पेडागोजी समझने में। तो आज का वीडियो है स्पेशली उनके लिए। इंशाल्लाह एक ही वीडियो में आप लोगों का जितना पेडागोजी का सिलेबस है एक ही वीडियो में इंशाल्लाह कवर करेंगे और वो एमसीक्यूज़ हम कवर करेंगे जो कि बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है, जिनके चांसेस ज़्यादा हैं कि वो टेस्ट में आ सकते हैं और पिछले टेस्टों में भी आ चुके हैं। तो इंशाल्लाह अगर आप आज का वीडियो आखिर तक देखेंगे तो इंशाल्लाह आपको जो पेडागोजी में जो मसले मसाइल थे वो इंशाल्लाह आप लोगों के हल हो जाएंगे। तो इस वीडियो को आखिर तक लाजमी देखें, वो जिनको पेडागोजी में को समझने में और पेडागोजी की तैयारी में मुश्किल पेश आ रहा है। स्पेशली ये वीडियो सिर्फ़ और सिर्फ उन उम्मीदवारों के लिए है। तो जल्दी से शुरू करते हैं आज का वीडियो। पहला टॉपिक है जनरल मेथड्स ऑफ टीचिंग। पहला एमसीक्यूज है, इन टीचिंग एक्सपीरियंस मेंबर्स गाइड द इमेच्योर वंस, एडजस्टमेंट ऑफ लाइफ। नेक्स्ट है, which is not the focal point of triangular process of teaching method। इसका ऑप्शन ए करेक्ट है। The goal of teaching is, option D is correct, desirable change in behavior। The rules of presenting the contents to make them easy are called, option B is correct, maxims of teaching। The solo stands for, option C is correct, structure of the observed learning outcome। अच्छा, ये जो MCQs है ये पास्ट पेपर्स में भी आप लोगों को मिलेगा और पास्ट पेपर्स काइंडली इसको ज़रूर देखें। हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल पे इसके लिए एक अलग से प्लेलिस्ट भी बना हुआ है। Solo taxonomy consists of levels, option C is correct, 4 levels। Solo taxonomy was presented by, option D is correct, Biggs and Coles। Students are passive in lecture method, option C। Symposium is a type of, option B is correct, discussion method। Activity involves, option D is correct, physical and mental action। We move from specific to general in deductive method, option B। The Socratic method is known as, option D, question answer method। Which is not true about projects, option D, it is teacher centered activity। Duration of lessons in macro lesson plans is, option D, 35 to 45 minutes। In British approach of lesson planning, more emphasis is on, option D is correct, teacher and content presentation। American approach emphasizes, option C, learning objectives। Which one is not the type of lesson plans on the basis of objectives, option A, micro lesson plan। Drama or role play is useful for teaching, option A, history। The hypothesis underlying team teaching is, option C, the best teachers in schools are shared by more students। CAI stands for option B, computer assisted instruction. To break down material into component parts to know its organizational structure is option C, analysis. To put ideas together to form a new whole is option B, synthesis. Which is vast in scope? Option C, teaching strategy. Students find explore the informations themselves in option B, discovery method. Teacher performs practically and explains in option C, demonstration method. Role of student is active in all of the above. Option D. Micro teaching is a option B, teacher training technique. What is the time of presentation in micro teaching? Option B, 5 to 10 minutes. What is the number of students in micro teaching? Option B, 5 to 10. Micro teaching started in option B, 1960. Micro teaching focuses on the competency over option B, skills. Which is more suitable in teaching of science? Option D, project method. Which one is exception? Option D, TV. Which is not included in print media? Option D, TV. How many senses a person use while observing film? Option B, 2 senses. How much knowledge is gained through the sense of seeing? देखने का जो हिस्सा है 75%. How much knowledge is gained through the sense of listening? Option B, 13%. How much knowledge is gained through the sense of touch? Option C, 6%. How much knowledge is gained through the sense of smell? Option D, just 3%. Which one is the best for large group instruction? Option A, lecture method. Useful for higher classes is option A, lecture method. First component of lesson planning is option A, objectives. नेक्स्ट पेडागोजी का टॉपिक है वो है ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी। अच्छा, ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी पे एक ऑलरेडी एक वीडियो बनाया है, इसमें आपको डिटेल से आप लोगों को समझाया था कि ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी है क्या। इसका कंप्लीट इंट्रोडक्शन पे एक वीडियो बना हुआ है। अगर आपने ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी को सिर्फ समझना है कि ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी है क्या, वो वीडियो आप लोग ज़रूर देखें। इस वीडियो में हम सिर्फ ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी के MCQs हैं, वो MCQ जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है वो कवर करेंगे। Taxonomy of educational objectives was presented in option B is correct, 1956. The classification of cognitive domain was presented by option A, Benjamin S. Bloom. Bloom's taxonomy was revised in the year option A, 2000. The lowest level in revised Bloom's taxonomy is option A, remember. Highest level in revised Bloom's taxonomy is option D, create. The right sequence of objectives of the revised Bloom's taxonomy is, ये इसका सीक्वेंस है, ऑप्शन जवाब यही है, रिमेंबर, अंडरस्टैंड, अप्लाई, एनालाइज, एवेल्युएट, क्रिएट। जो हाईएस्ट है वो रिमेंबर है और लोएस्ट है वो क्रिएट है. At knowledge level, students will option B recall the information. What can you invent or design is a sample of option D synthesis. Defend the actions of the main character. What level of Bloom's taxonomy is this? Option C analysis. If students construct a model to show how something works, they are option B applying. What is the lowest level of thinking of the updated Bloom's taxonomy? Option B remembering. In Bloom's taxonomy, remembering, understanding, and applying are option B lower order thinking. In Bloom's taxonomy, analyzing, evaluating, and creating are option A higher order thinking. Which of the following description works best for the taxonomic level of remembering? Option A find information. Solo taxonomy has dash levels. Option C 4. ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी का एक इंट्रोडक्शन है वाज क्रिएटेड इन 1956. कभी ये भी एमसीक्यूज में आता है कि कब इसको बनाया गया, क्रिएट किया गया 1956 में, अंडर द लीडरशिप ऑफ एजुकेशनल साइकोलॉजिस्ट डॉक्टर बेंजामिन ब्लूम. ये भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि किसने ये क्रिएट किया था ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी. तो इसका ये है एजुकेशनल साइकोलॉजिस्ट डॉक्टर बेंजामिन ब्लूम ने. पेडागोजी का नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है असेसमेंट. इस पे एक अलग से वीडियो भी बना हुआ है जिसमें कंप्लीट एमसीक्यूज है, लेकिन इस वीडियो में हम वो एमसीक्यूज शामिल करेंगे जो कि बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट हैं. द प्रोसेस ऑफ ऑब्टेनिंग न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू इज ऑप्शन बी मेजरमेंट. अ सम ऑफ क्वेश्चन इज ऑप्शन ए टेस्ट. To assess achievement at the end of instruction is option C summative assessment. Permanent difficulties in learning are investigated in option D diagnostic assessment. In multiple choice atoms, the stem of the atoms should be option C meaningful. A test very popular with classroom teacher is option B multiple choices यानी MCQs. Which question has increasing objectivity of marking? Option D multiple type questions. The most widely used format on a standardized test in USA, United States of America is option D multiple type questions. Projective techniques are used to measure option D personality. The correct option in MCQ is option A answer. The incorrect options in MCQs are option D distractor. The type of essay atom in which contents are limited, option A restricted response questions. Test that measures learning outcome of student is option A achievement test. Most of the tests used in our schools are option B achievement tests. The term evaluation usually covers ऑप्शन डी ऑल ऑफ द अबोव, मतलब ऑप्शन ए भी करेक्ट है, स्टूडेंट्स परफॉर्मेंस, टीचर्स परफॉर्मेंस, इंस्ट्रक्शनल परफॉर्मेंस, ऑप्शन डी ऑल ऑफ द करेक्ट, ऑप्शन डी इज करेक्ट. Project is concerned with option A practical work. The basic function of educational measurement is to find out students. Option A achievement. The most comprehensive term used in the process of educational testing is option D evaluation. A collection of procedure used to collect information about students' learning process is called option B assessment. A sum of questions is option A test. The right sequence is option C test, measurement, assessment, evaluation. The purpose of evaluation is to option A make judgment about the quality of something. The difference between maximum and minimum value is option C range. The number of score lying in a class interval is option D frequencies. The collection of productive work called to evaluate the performance of a student is option A portfolio. The primary determinant of a grade is the dash of students, option C performance. The main purpose of classroom testing is option A compare students' performance. Diagnostic evaluation is done option B after teaching. नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है, इस वीडियो का आखिरी टॉपिक है, वो है क्लासरूम मैनेजमेंट. The main purpose of the supervision of teaching should be the option A advancement of pupil welfare. Supervision should be primarily option C constructive and creative. The basic purpose of supervision is to help option C children learn more effectively. The elementary school teachers are directly responsible to the option A headmaster. The criticism most frequently leveled at school administration is that option C they fail to provide leadership. The school headmaster are expected to option A put into operation the course of study. A supervisor is one who option A provides friendly help. The effective supervision is indicated by option C helping teachers becoming more self-sufficient. The school policy should be determined by option D citizens and educators. ये भी एक repeated MCQs है. The chief responsibility of the principal is option B provide leadership in instructional plan. The history of administration goes back to option A 5000 BC. The administration means option A to look after. The function of educational administration and management is option C both A and B, यानी instructional tasks, non-instructional tasks. Provision of good educational environment is option A, instructional tasks. Supervision of good educational environment is option A, instructional tasks. Arrangement of physical resources is option B, non-instructional tasks. The main types of administration are option B, 3. Which is not the type of administration? Option A, instructional administration. Option A. Democratic administration is based on option B, mutual sharing. Boss is right is the feature of option B, authoritarian administration. Respect of opinion is the feature of option C, democratic administration. In teaching learning process, supervision is usually carried out by option A, principal. Assessment of how well a school is performing is option C, inspection. To make arrangements is the part of option B, organizing. Execution of plans and decisions is the part of option C, commanding. To bring harmony among all the elements of programs is option D, coordinating. School budget includes option C, both A and B, yani development expenditure, non-development expenditure. Staff development means option B, training staff. Selecting one course of action among various alternatives is option C, decision making. Who is the father of operational management theory? Option B, Henry Fayol. All government grants expenditures are maintained in option A, cash register. How funds in a given period will be obtained and spent is option C, budget. Types of supervision encouraging variety, originality, and independent experimentation is option C, creative. Who educated the bureaucratic theory? Option D, Max Weber. In case of new requirement, the probation period is option A, 3 years. The power delegated throughout an organization is option C, decentralization. The father of modern theory of management is option B, Henry Fayol. The smallest interacting parts of a system are option B, component. Which pension is granted to civil servant who retires in the age of 60? Option A, superannuation. All financial transaction of the school occurring from day to day is entered in option A, cash book. The process of directing others towards the accomplishment of some objectives is option B, management. The cash book in maintained by option A, DDO. Pension is given if the retirement is after service of option A, 25 years. Person who possesses qualities of leadership, option A, leader. The concept of inspection was first introduced in option C, England. Budget is an estimation of option C, income and expenditure. जी दोस्तों, ये था आज का हमारा पेडागोजी का वीडियो। उम्मीद है हमारा एक छोटा सा कोशिश आप लोगों के लिए मददगार साबित होगा। इस वीडियो के बारे में अपना फीडबैक हमें ज़रूर दें कमेंट सेक्शन में। तो मिलते हैं आप लोगों से नेक्स्ट वीडियो में। अपना ढेर सारा ख्याल रखिएगा और हमें अपने दुआ में ज़रूर याद रखें। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।